All right, welcome to this week's segment of the week. This week, we're actually going to do a segment we have not done before. So, no Hail Mary, no matchup madness, no nothing like that. But we're going to do our fantasy starts of the week because I just called you Austin. Quentin here is what I would like to call a fantasy football expert. Like I said at the beginning of the show, he told me to target certain guys in my dynasty league, and it all paid off pretty well for me. So I think it's only fair to talk about some fantasy football here. So we're going to talk quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end starts of the week. So I don't know. You want to go ahead and just start it off with your QB start of the week, or I guess whatever position you want to start with.
Yeah, we'll start at quarterback. I'll say this about my so-called expertise. Every blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. So,
I'm just talking you up a
no,
little bit. You got to roll with it.
yeah, I mean, I appreciate the compliment, but yeah, I'll go with my start of the week this week. You might not like it, Caden, but I am going to go Baker Mayfield of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Carolina. They've given up a ton of points to the quarterback position, aren't a great defense, and it is still technically a revenge game for Baker from being in Carolina, being put as the practice squad, defensive lineman a couple times on the scout team. So not even playing him at quarterback position. So yeah, I think it will mean a little bit more to Baker. He's got Mike Evans back. Mike Evans eats against the against the Panthers historically. So yeah, give me Baker Mayfield in yeah, this week.
I really agree with you there. I had Baker, and then I was like, you know what? There's a really likely chance you're going to pick Baker, so I changed mine. So unfortunately, I do agree with you there. I actually have Sam Darnold going up against the Cardinals this week. Aside from we talked about on the podcast, aside from a couple weeks ago, that week against Jacksonville where he didn't throw a touchdown and threw 3 picks, Sam Darnold's been a very consistent 20 points per game quarterback for fantasy football, and he's going against a Cardinals defense that doesn't have much of a pass rush, doesn't have much of a defense at all, but they have a little bit more of a dynamic offense. He's at home in the Dome in Minnesota, going up against what should be a high-scoring Cardinals team, should be a higher-scoring game. The Cardinals can score a lot of points, and I think Sam Darnold just is consistently getting you 20, and I think if he just gets a couple more passing touchdowns, if this is a little bit more of a shootout, he has potential to get a little more points this week. So, but I do agree
Interesting
with the Baker
choice.
Mayfield take.
Interesting choice. Yeah, that could be Sam Darnold could do some things in his dome. So not a bad pick.
All right, what's your pick for running back start of the week?
Running back, I was searching a little bit more for this one, but I did settle on Kyron Williams versus the Saints this week. The Saints are giving up the third most points to the running back position on the season. If you recall, when the Bucks played the Saints back in Week 6, I want to say some guy named Sean Tucker, the third string for the running back for the Bucks, won NFC Offensive Player of the Week because he had just about 200 total yards of offense by himself. And so I think Kyron Williams will, maybe not have almost 200 yards of total offense, but I think you will be very happy if he's on your fantasy team for this week and in your starting lineup.
I like that pick. He scores touchdowns, it seems, almost every single week. So my running back start of the week is Devon Achane versus the Packers on Thanksgiving. Ever since Tua has came back, I mean, I know it depends on your scoring systems, but at least in my league, ever since Tua's been back, he's been the running back 2, the running back 2, the running back 24, but then the running back 6 and the running back 6. He goes up against a Packers defense that they're a little bit better against the run, but Devon Achane makes a lot of his fantasy work in the passing game. He gets a lot of receptions and takes them in for sometimes breaks away for long touchdowns, but he gets a lot of short yardage catches from Tua and takes it in for a touchdown. And against the Packers, probably going to be a little bit of a colder game, so maybe can't throw the ball as deep, a little bit more checkdowns, a little bit more runs. And against the Packers, that should be a high-scoring game as well. So I think Devon Achane has potential to be that top 5 running back and definitely a start of the week against the Packers.
Yeah, I have Devon Achane in my one of my leagues that I care about the most, so I'm gonna believe you on that one and hope that he goes for 20 plus. So
I sure hope so too because I got him in mind. So next one, we got the wide receiver. What do you think for that?
yeah, this one was was trying not to pick people that were just on my team, which I guess the only one I don't technically have Kyron in any league, but I do have Baker in a league, so it's been nice. But I'm gonna pick someone that's also on one of my teams, but has a really great matchup. I'm gonna go Nico Collins versus the Jaguars. They played back earlier this year, and he went 12 catches for 151 yards and a touchdown the last time they played. I think his biggest fantasy performance of the week, or sorry, of the year. So I think he's gonna. The Jags will. They play a ton of man. Nico's tough to match up against, and so I think Nico eats, and yeah, CJ Stroud gets back on track that way too.
Mm-hmm. This one was definitely my most questionable pick, maybe a little bit more risky. I probably, if you have some guys like AJ Brown over this guy or things like that, definitely would consider those guys over him. But this is more of a, if you're in need of a flex or you're struggling between something and you have to, definitely don't. Start this guy with caution, but I think DJ Moore has potential to do a lot on Thursday against, what just happened to my laptop? Against the Lions. I know the Lions are a dominant team on offense and defense, but I think the Bears will probably get down pretty early in this game. They're going to be trailing for all of or a majority of this game, so they're going to be passing. DJ Moore has, at least last week, got back to form, caught 7 passes, all 7 of his targets had a touchdown. So Caleb Williams looked a little bit better last week against a pretty good Vikings defense. So I think that if they continue to just pass because they're going to be struggling and trailing in this game, DJ Moore should be that number 1 option for you. And he should just, rack up some receptions and hopefully get in the end zone. So that's a little bit more of a risky one, I know, but I think he has potential to be a Thanksgiving. I feel like there's always a couple of Thanksgiving dudes that just randomly explode. So he has potential, I would say.
Yeah, I actually like that pick a lot. I got DJ. I have to decide if I'm starting him in a league versus a JSN versus a Jets or even a Rashad White versus Carolina. So it's I'm losing sleep over that decision right now. But I could see very well the Lions are a good defense, but play a lot of man to man, and if DJ could find some separation, which is very possible, he could have a big day. So it's a good pick.
All right, and then the tight ends. What do you got for the tight end start of the week?
Tight end, instead of going with guys who have just been dominating every week, I'm going to go out on a little bit. I guess it's not that big of a limb, but I think definitely my most shaky pick. But I'm going to take a TJ Hawkinson versus those Arizona Cardinals. So you have Sam Darnold. I chose TJ Hawkinson. So I said it earlier, but he played his most snaps since coming off of IR last week, and Arizona is stingy kind of against the tight ends for fantasy football, but so was Chicago, and TJ put up a huge day against Chicago. So I think he stays in the Flames, and he probably could get in the end zone on this one at home. So I'm going TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, mine, you might like this one a little bit. I have Cade Otton going up against the Panthers. Ever since kind of Chris Godwin's gone out, Otton has been a great fantasy tight end. It has been great for the Bucs. He's gotten tons of receptions, gotten in the end zone, tons of yards. He's just been consistent for fantasy football. He's going up against a Panthers defense that, like we talked about, is just Swiss cheese right now. And they leave that middle of the field very open. And I think you can have a tight end easily run around in there. You saw it last week. Travis Kelce had tons of potentials. Like, Mahomes didn't throw to him, but he was open in the middle of the field a ton. Noah Gray, their backup tight end, actually had a phenomenal game in the middle of the field. So I think Cade Otton has a chance to just eat in that middle of the field. And if it is a more higher scoring game, I think he has potential to explode. So, yeah. And that's going to do it, I think.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, unfortunately. I think that's going to do it for this week of K&A Football. Quentin, thank you so much for coming. This was a lot of fun. I know we've talked about having you on for a while now, and if you are questioning any fantasy football questions, hopefully all of these starts and sits from both of us can help a little bit. And if they're wrong, we're not experts, so you can't get too mad at us. But yeah, Quentin, thank you for coming on. It was a lot of fun.
No, yeah, I appreciate it. This was a good time. I'll be happy to come back anytime you need me.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll let you know. And maybe next time we can have me, you, and Austin get multiple perspectives from a Bucs fan, Browns fan, and Panthers fan. So Baker Mayfield's been on all 3 teams, so that would maybe be a weird dynamic.
Yep, that'd be quite interesting. So
Awesome. Well, hope everybody enjoys their Thanksgiving. Spend time with your family and watch some good football games, hopefully, some good football games. And we will see you guys next week.